Xbox next month is releasing its Kinect product, which no controller, virtual reality, the most crazy video games system ever, but it does not compare to the Magnavox Odyssey in 1973. This is technological advancement at its finest.
Magnavox presents Odyssey, the electronic game of the future. Odyssey easily attaches to any brand TV to create a closed-circuit electronic playground. Odyssey gives you all the exciting action of hockey and 11 other challenging play and learning games for the entire family.
So that's a little bit about where we've been, and now we're going to transition to where we are. The topic for today, which is the futuristic present of marketing. I want to introduce our first speaker, Zach Hofer-Shall.
In 2 days, we generate more information than all of history up until 2003. There's so much information out there. This is social media. How can we manage this? Now, a lot of companies are doing this. A lot of companies are looking at social media. They're listening, so to say. They're actually tracking their brands. What I'm going to talk about is turning this garbage into business intelligence, into something that's actionable for your business. So Honda has actually looked into this in a number of ways. And the one I want to talk about is through marketing. Pretty direct marketing, what they can learn through social media. They ran a program, collected tons of information from social media, from tweets, from blogs. They ran their own private market research community. They just sampled out anyone interested in talking about Hyundais, come join our community, and found out that people were freaked out last year. Hyundai knew this, everyone knew this, and they needed to find a way to make people know it's okay, it's safe to buy a car right now. And they found one of the big pain points for car buyers was what if we lose our jobs? What if I get fired? I've just bought this car and I can't afford the payments anymore. So they created the insurance program. I think a lot of you have probably seen this. They've seen ads for this. If you lose your job, I will buy back your car. They will take over payments and you'll be okay. This is something they learned from social media. People were saying, I would buy this car if I knew there was a guarantee that if I lost, I'm afraid to buy this car for any number of reasons. And they ran this qualitatively. They found the people saying, this is exactly what I'm looking for, this is what I want, and quantitatively. They had a certain number, a threshold they were looking for, that if there's this much discussion, this is representative of our large consumer base. And enough people online last year in the recession were talking about how challenging it is to buy a car because of what could happen to their job. Hyundai saw, I should know this number a lot better, 19 or 20% increase in sales last year. No car company increased in sales last year. And they did this for relatively free. Compared to their millions and millions of dollar marketing budget and market research budget, they learned, let's create this new program and let's market it. Let's tell people, using the messages that they told us that they're afraid to buy a car, what can they do? Let's put that right back out there, and we can actually do this. So this sounds simple, but companies are afraid to take the lead.
Our last speaker and presenter, his name is Paul Bolio. He's from IBM Interactive, who's also one of the sponsors of FutureM Week, and he's going to be talking about engagement online, and really excited to have him.
In South by Southwest in 2008, Jane McGonigal, who you may know the name, sort of gave a keynote about the research that she was doing about sort of how games create engagement. And so, are folks familiar with this? Anybody in the room know what this is? World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft, right? Okay. So anybody play? Anybody play the World of Warcraft? So I got some people back here. So the interesting thing about sort of World of Warcraft is that 12 million people play this game. And the last figures that I heard was about 12 million people play it on a regular basis. And they spend about 22 hours per week playing this game, right? And so this is a part-time job for a lot of people, right? And sort of the demographics might surprise you. This is not the 15-year-old in their parents' basement, sort of without the dark, without any lighting in the room playing this game. The average age of the individual that plays World of Warcraft is about 30 years old, right? And sort of the mix is that it's 60% men and 40% women. So by sort of a lot of metrics, right, this is the most successful engagement experience ever created, right? And what Jane McGonigal sort of presented in her research was that, she asked the question, why do games create engagement? What about them, right, sort of appeals to us as people? And what the research showed was that the things that sort of create engagement in games, right, are the same things that positive psychology shows us create sort of meaningful and lasting happiness in our lives. And so there are 4 things that sort of, if you look at the research in positive psychology, show you that we sort of, that create happiness for us. So the first thing is satisfying work to do. There's a lot of discussion, you may be familiar with the idea of the flow and the term sort of work that challenges us. This actually is a picture was happening sort of outside of a workshop that a colleague and I were presenting down at WHYY in Philadelphia. And during the day, you could see these 2 folks that were creating sort of this mural outside, and they were just totally engaged in it, and we were pretty loud and sort of, but they paid no attention to us because they were focused on this workshop. So satisfying work to do is the first thing that creates happiness in our lives. The second is the experience of being good at something. And so this was probably the best picture that I think I've found on yet that shows the experience of being good at something. So you probably know this is Michael Phelps, right? He's one of the world's greatest swimmers, greatest Olympic athletes. He is undoubtedly, by any measure, good at what he does. Here's the third one. Time spent with people we like. This is my 2 favorite people in the world. This is my wife and our 14-week-old son. Last but not least, the last thing that makes us happy as people, or what the research shows, is the chance to be a part of something bigger. So this is the civil rights sort of march from the I Have a Dream speech. Regardless of sort of what sort of is here now and what's been in the past and sort of what's coming in the future, one thing sort of remains, and that's the people, right? The people that use the technology.